Hi Flosstube friends, it's Liliana from Owl Be Stitching Forever. Welcome to my channel. Today is a stitch with me. Out of Cross Stitch magazine of 2025, I chose to stitch Dreamweaver Witch. This was started last year for a sale, which was hosted by Java Girls Stitches. And I'm stitching mine on 28 count Lugana, colored Joy Lynn. I decided to get into the theme of Halloween, and I pulled out my Halloween nail stickers. So I chose a jack-o'-lantern for my thumbnail, and these are really cute. They come in a bundle of different Halloween designs off of Amazon. And they have other themes as well. So just thought it would be fun to put them on. They're really easy to put on and really easy to take off. So anyway, so let's get started. I hope you guys are all doing well today. And I'm going to start over here. And my plan is to stitch along the side until I get to the bottom. Probably not in this video, but you never know. We'll see. In a few minutes, or moments, or seconds, I'm going to show you. I'll insert a clip here of my new fish. I have a 10-gallon aquarium on top of my desk, and I bought two adorable neon blue fish. They're so cute. The fish that I had in here, I had moved into my 20-gallon tank, so I was able to buy two little fish for to take residence in my 10-gallon tank. The others that were in there, I just decided to move over to my 20-gallon tank because I wanted some new fish to look at. So that's what I did. And anyway, I hope you guys are doing really well and that you got your stitching in hand and that you've already started to stitch. And if you want, you can tell me what you're stitching on because I'd love to know. I don't do mini stitch with me videos because it requires me to talk. To think of something to talk about, and I'm not really good at that. So I wrote some questions that I thought I would ask you guys, and if you want to answer them in the comments below, that would be awesome, because I love to read comments, and I would also answer them myself. So, you know, awkward silence. That, I guess that's one of the things that I run into with Stitch With Me videos, and that's why I don't make a lot of them. I only have a few up, but I thought I would go ahead and get one up because it's been a while, and I thought, I'll figure out something to talk about. I wrote some questions down to help me along. And so let's just start with the questions. I'm curious, do you guys stitch every day? My answer is I try to. I try to stitch every day if I can. Even if it's only 15 or 20 minutes. I still try, you know. There are days that I'm out of the house and I cannot. But, if I'm out traveling somewhere, I'll take it with me in the car if I'm the one not driving, and I'll do some stitching. But lately, I have not been able to stitch in the car unless I'm stitching on 11 count printed, a printed kit. So I can't. I don't have the glasses that are strong enough. I don't have, I have a magnifying glass that wraps around my neck, but it's always moving around as we're driving, so that doesn't really work. And so, 11 count printed cross stitch is what I take with me. But besides that, when I get to the hotel room, if I'm staying somewhere, I will bring 28 count or 14 count or one of my kits unprinted and stitch on that with my traveling magnifying glass. I do have a desk magnifying glass, and I could take it with me, and sometimes I do take it with me traveling. It just takes up a bit of room in my suitcase, but sometimes I do take it with me. I think sometimes we feel like we have to have a big chunk of time available before it's worth sitting down and with our project, but honestly, those little bits of stitching time really do add up, like 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. Before you know it, you've got a little bit more than you would have had if you didn't take the time to do that. And besides, it's kind of like breathing exercises for me, when you're feeling mentally exhausted or you're worrying about things, you've got anxiety, whatever it is that's going on, and you just want your mind to settle. That 10-15 minutes helps. At least it helps me. And it's kind of like breathing exercises that you can do to bring down your anxiety level. I get the same effects by just stopping whatever it is I'm doing and sit down. 10-15 minutes of stitching, and my mind feels so much better, more calmer. Of course, as long as I don't make a mistake and have to frog. If that happens, well, then it is what it is, right? So, I'm curious. Do you guys stitch every day? Or do you only stitch when you have a big chunk of time free? And that's when you sit down and stitch? I'd like to know. So this is my first and only monochromatic piece. I have thought of doing another monochromatic piece, another design, and I just haven't gotten around to doing that. Of course, that would mean another new start. I do like monochromatic. This is relaxing because I'm not having to change color threads. It's just black, which is the 310 DMC. So are you a one project at a time stitcher? Or do you like having multiple projects going at the same time? Or around the same time, I should say. Knowing, well, yeah, you could do multiple projects in a day, I suppose. You can do a little stitching on one and then pick up another and do a little bit more stitching on that one, and so on and so forth. People do that. I've done that before, but probably no more than two. Two projects, I think, is my limit as far as in the same day. Well, I can never be a one project at a time stitcher, like a monogamous stitcher. You choose one project and then you start it and you go through the whole entire thing and finish it before you start another one. I thought I was when I first began cross stitching, and I started off that way. Didn't take very long. Did not take very long at all. It is the one hobby that I cannot stay monogamous to, one project. I could if it's crocheting. I've always done a crocheted project start to the end. I've never had more than one going at a time. Let me see. I can't think of any other hobbies that I had in the past that I've done that, I've done needlework on plastic canvas. I work on that until I'm done. Yeah, so anyway, I need variety with cross stitching, especially when I'm watching other floss tubers and they're sharing their projects. I'll see something that someone else is working on and I'll think, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. I need to get it. Which is probably one of the reasons I have 52 whips in the first place. I have projects because I love to stitch. Then I watch other people stitch and I discover even more projects that I want to stitch. And the cycle goes on. I get excited about those projects and suddenly I have to have another one. So, the real question is, how many more can I add? Okay, I'm just kidding. Of course I can add more. I can add more. The sky's the limit, right? I mean, there are so many projects out there. So many. There's no shortage of choices. Lots of beautiful cross-stitch designs out there. I do enjoy having multiple projects. I like being able to choose based on my mood, based on the season, or just whatever. Sometimes I want something easy that I don't have to think too much about, and other times I want something more challenging, like any of the Dimensions Gold collection. Those are always challenging, at least for me. Next question. Let's see. Do you prefer starting a new project or finishing one? What do you most look forward to? My answer is I do like to start and I like to finish, but I think what I like the most is starting a new project. I just like that excitement of a new project, a new design, new thread. Everything looks so organized when you get it in the package and you open it up. Yeah, I do like that. But when it comes to actually fully finishing a project like framing turning it into a pillow or decorating it in different various ways. I have to admit I'm not nearly as excited about that. I just would rather stitch because it's therapeutic. And that's what I love about stitching. So I love the actual cross-stitching part, for sure. I love watching the design come together, seeing the picture appear, and just the progress, the process. But then, I get to the point where the stitching is finished and suddenly I'm thinking, okay, now what? What am I going to do with this? Will it be framed and hung up on my wall, or what to do? I have to decide how I'm going to finish it and what I'm going to do with it and where I'm going to put it. And then we all know what happens next, right? Sometimes it just gets put somewhere safe in a box, in a drawer, and then we start another cross stitch. And it may sit there for a long while before you go back to it and say, hey, I really need to fully finish this. So do you have a favorite time of day to stitch? For me, I would have to say early evening, like right after dinner. That's my time to relax. Dinner is over, the kitchen is closed, and I can just sit down, enjoy some stitching. Usually I will either also take a shower before I sit down to stitch, or a nice hot bath, depending on what season we're in. In the winter, hot baths are really, really nice. But in the summer, it's showers. And then I know when I sit down to stitch, nothing's going to interrupt me. I don't have to think, okay, I have to go do this, I have to go do that. It's stitch until I am tired and sleepy, and then go to sleep. And most of the time I have YouTube playing in the background, and honestly, it's usually Flosstube videos. I love seeing what everybody else is working on and what new projects they've started, and of course all the patterns that they tempt me to buy. My list keeps growing and growing. I stop what I'm doing. I look up the pattern that they're sharing, and then I add it to my list if I haven't done so already. Come to think of it, I wonder if I've ever saved the same pattern twice. I wouldn't put that past me. I probably have. So lately too, I've also been watching tiny home videos. Have you guys seen those? I think they're so neat to watch because they give you a tour of their tiny home, and some of them are on wheels and some of them are not. I like both because even the ones that are on wheels can be pretty large. Surprisingly, could even have 2 bedrooms. So I do like watching those, and it makes me wonder and think, will I ever be in a tiny home someday? Way down the line, like when I get older, to the point where I cannot manage anymore my garden. Someday, I'm sure, if I live long enough, I'm going to reach that point where gardening will be harder on me, and for my husband maintaining the front yard and the backyard, it's a lot of work. A lot of work. We've been in our house for over 30 years in the city that my husband grew up in, and we love it here. It would be sad if we ever had to move, but you know, things sometimes happen that that you just have to look for another place to live. But for us, I cannot see both of us moving into a tiny home. That probably will never happen. But you know, these tiny home owners, they talk about, you know, what prompted them to move from a big home or even an apartment to a tiny house. And I love listening to the stories. So some are women who are divorced, or they are widowed. They cannot no longer take care of their big home because of all the maintenance and everything. So, and they say they do not regret it one bit, that they're very happy. And you know, it's hard to get rid of stuff. We accumulate so much stuff when we have a home that has a lot of storage and has a garage, and you know, you just keep storing and storing and storing. And then when it comes down to moving and you want to move into a small place, then you're having to make really hard decisions of what to keep and what to let go. So, but from what I've heard, these tiny house owners have said that they feel so much freer now that they're not holding on to so much stuff, and their lives are just much more simpler. So, you know, and these tiny homes now, they have bedrooms that are on the floor level. There are tiny homes on wheels where there is a loft up on top, and you cannot stand up in these lofts. You have to bend down. So even at my height of 5'2", I would probably have to bend down in some of those, and I wouldn't want to be going up and down stairs or steps in the middle of the night, because that wouldn't be good. And as you get older, things just are not the same as it used to be, right? You don't move as well as you did when you were younger. So, you know, you got to think about that. As they say, you got to think of a tiny home that you can age in place. That's the exact words that they use, age in place. And that makes total sense to me. But I am not ready yet. I'm going to enjoy. I've got, hopefully, 20 more years in front of me that I won't have to worry about moving. So if you keep exercising and eating healthy, you can stay mobile. Your joints will keep working, and you can enjoy your later years. Okay. What's one cross-stitch tool you could not live without? For me, That's my magnifying glass. I honestly don't know how I would stitch without it. I don't find myself straining my eyes nearly as much anymore, and I think that's made stitching a lot more enjoyable, because at the beginning I was, I believe, just using my readers, and then I said, no way, I need the magnifying glass as well. So I use both my readers and the magnifying glass because that's what works for me. I am stitching with it right now, but you guys can't see it because I have it out of frame. So I have it kind of tilted a little bit. It's a little awkward, but I am filming, so I have to put it right, like it's right under my chin. So, and it's tilted. That way I can see what I'm doing, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to do this. So today hit 95 degrees and it's still like 93 out. And we have the air conditioning on because there's no way when the days are this hot, I've got to have the air conditioning on. And plus I have my ceiling fans turned on. I have another little fan on my desk that I use as well, but I have it turned off right now, otherwise it would make way too much noise while I'm filming. But it's a little small one that runs by batteries, and it just helps a lot. So what has the weather been like where you live? Has it been really hot, nice and comfortable, or are you already starting to cool off? Depending on where you are on the globe, I'd love to know. I know when this video gets to the end, some of you might look at my progress and think, wow, she was stitching for 20-30 minutes and that's all she's got done. And yes, that is probably going to be the case. It's going to be a little, but that's the reality of cross stitch. Every single stitch takes time, and sometimes 30 minutes goes by much faster than you think. I also like to keep my stitch with me videos on the shorter side, and any of my videos really. I like to keep it on the shorter side because I always have problems with storage space on my phone. So I end up having to download the video onto a editing app, and then transferring it to my phone after I do that. It's just too much. It takes up so much room. And I end up having to delete all my apps on my phone, basically. And then when I'm done uploading it to YouTube, then I can bring them all back. So it's, it's part of making a YouTube video. And that's probably why I don't make it as often as I would like to, because I have to go through that whole process every single time. So keeping these videos around 30 minutes makes it easier for me. So is anybody stitching Halloween projects yet? Like right now? If you are, let me know what you're stitching on. And I'll look it up, of course. I will look it up and see if it's on my list. And if it isn't, I will, I'm sure, add to my list if I like it. I'm getting to the end of my thread here. I hope you guys enjoyed spending this stitching time with me today. And if you were stitching along with me, I hope you made some good progress on your own project too. And before you go, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me what you're stitching on today, or answer one of the questions I asked during this video. I always enjoy reading your comments and learning more about what everyone else is working on. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me for a little while. Whether you were stitching along or just relaxing and watching, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Happy stitching, everyone. Bye.